Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Try It Out Tuesday. Right, whilst we wait for people to join in, I'm actually going to get started priming this page. I'm just going to use some of the Dylusions white paint for that. You could use gesso. And it's just because I want to do a more watery sort of look on here. Because we're going to go for a double layout, which I haven't done for a while, which is why I thought that's a good idea, actually. So, I thought, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Now, I don't have to worry about going in terms of the priming too far, because I'm going to try and do like a coloured band across the middle. Well, that's the plan. That's the plan. And I love a plan, because you can change it. It's when you don't have a plan. I love an adaptable plan. Like, even when I come on and say I don't have a plan, even when I don't have a plan, I do have a vague idea. The vagueness varies. I'm just going to get a little bit of water. I'm going to spread that out a little. Hello, everybody. Yeah, so basically, I'm trying to do this journal in order for the most part, as I said to you, this new white one, but I wanted to do a double layout, and I personally think it's easier to do a double layout, in the middle of a signature. Okay, again, that is my opinion. Does not have to be your opinion or anyone else's. If I'm planning a double layout, I just think it's easier in the middle of a signature. But hey, you do you. And all that jazz. So I'm just using my number 2 Dina brush just to spread that Dylusions white paint out. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of a heaty. Yes, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Mr. Tonks is away with work. So, I did Valentine's dinner with my girls. It was very nice. Had beef Wellington. Super delicious. Yeah, I will say, if I show you through other journals, the double layouts aren't in... all the other double layouts aren't in signature joins. This is something I have come to, shall we say, from getting annoyed when they don't sit flat when I've done a double layout. But it's definitely the easiest space to keep everything together. So, I was going to say, I wouldn't pretend that I prepared the beef Wellington. It was prepared by Morrison's. I usually go for M&S, went for Morrison's, you know, energy crisis, in case you had chicken. Okay. So yeah, so I'm in Medina Wakely 6x6, and I've just gone over that with some of the white Dylusions paint. Okay, but like I say, if you've got a favourite gesso or something like that, I still can't get the tub of my white gesso open, and to be honest, it's fine because I like to use white Dylusions paint anyway, so it's not really that big of an issue for me. That side keeps flapping up, so I think I'm going to need a bigger clip. Yeah, there we go. Right, so across the middle, okay, I'm going to put some water down. I'm going to try and get some clean water for this job. And then I'm going to add the paints to it, which is one of the reasons I wanted to sort of prime the surface first. In fairness, wouldn't even have to do it with white. If you wanted to do it with your matte medium, something like that, that would also prime the surface. Excuse me. So you'd be absolutely fine with that. So I'm going to go in with the number 20. In fact, I've changed my mind. I'm going to go in with the number 24. The big one. We're going to basically... Oh, it's green. Ah, well. So the water was clean, but the brush wasn't. It's alright, we're going to embrace it. Okay, and we're going to sort of draw a swoosh along here. Okay, then we're going to go to our Dilutions paint. I've already done a little bit of a shimmy. We're going to add some paint in to this swoosh. So this is the Dilutions Blue Lagoon. I'm going to swoosh that in and add a bit more water now. Okay. And then we're going to go in with some bubblegum pink. Just going to get one of my painty towels. Get that bit of excess water that's just tracking towards the middle, but you can see starting to wick in different directions, which is brilliant. It makes it much more organic. And we'll track back. And then I think I might add a little bit of lemon zest. Okay, so that's Blue Lagoon. I do also like lemon drop. No, I'm not going to go lemon drop. I'm going to go lemon zest. Both are good. Excuse me, I am sorry. Got a tickle. Okay. I'll add that in a couple of places. Oh, that's not going to go away, is it? Then I'm going to get my mini mister. Instead of adding more water with my brush, I'm just going to add a little bit with my mini mister. So that we can get this lovely wick in here, but then I am going to get my heat tool and start forcing it to dry so it doesn't move too far. Because I don't want to lose the fact it's yellow. Remove that. There you go, I'm just going to lift some of that extra water from there. And then we're just going to heat set that. And the thing is, obviously, you could get a similar sort of look, okay, more than if you wanted to, for example, do one page and then sandwich it. But then they both match, okay, they've both got the yellow in the same places and whatever. Whereas if you want it to be different across the two pages, yeah. That's where you want it to go. Okay, now I am possibly going to go over these bottom and top bits with some white Dilutions paint. I'm going to give it a try now, but I'm not sure it's actually going to cover that well. Because of how much water I put on, but we're going to give it a go. Just to knock it back a little bit. There we go. I will put some stuff over it as well, but it's just to sort of, just to start knocking it back a little. Now I'll heat set that as well. Okay, and then I'm going to have a play with my scribble sticks. Now, in all honesty, I haven't had these out for ages, so I've probably forgotten all the things that I love to do with them, but I'm going to have a play with them anyway because that much I remember that I love them. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the similar colours that I've been using, but obviously we do have these lovely sort of teals that have popped up that we weren't necessarily using, but they have arrived. So I think that's going to go really nice with the turquoise. In that scribble stick. But what we're going to do is we're going to dip it in some water first, and then we're going to go and just scribble across the top and then into the bottom. Okay, if you haven't seen the scribble sticks before, they work in so many different ways. They are not a wax crayon, okay, they are a pigment stick. So you can use them in lots of ways. You can use them like I'm using now to scribble. You can then do that and watercolour them out a little. You can use a paintbrush on them and use them as a paint. There's loads of different things. There is earlier videos on YouTube where I've used them as well, so you can see. So we're going to do a bit more of a scribble there. And another one there. And then I think we're going to need to use the lemon. Now, this is one of these things that I do still keep in the tin, which I think keeps Sam very, very happy. So obviously I have yielded and put all my, most of my eco lines just in a tub all together. Which, you know, she struggles with. Okay. But honestly, scribble sticks are one of those things that, if you do love your journaling, you will want to add to your collection at some point. Okay, and then I'm going to add a bit more. So, for example, you can scribble with the scribble sticks and get full coverage if they're wet. So you can get a really sort of vibrant pigment. You can get more of a, almost like a crayon look. They're not, but what you can do is if you make sure you've got enough, okay, if you wanted, for example, to come back in later with the water, for that you can. Okay, now depending on how much colour you've put down from your scribble stick will depend on if you can see the lines or not later. Okay, that's a variable thing. Alright, so from here I'm going to go to my Metalwork Alpha, okay, and we're going to put that down in a few spots. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some coordinating distress inks. Okay, so I'm going to go for a Kitsch Flamingo, she says, and yeah, a mustard seed, I reckon. Okay, so I'm going to go for my Kitsch Flamingo first. So I've got my pink blending brush. Add that up there. Then there. And then maybe add a little bit of that circle into there. And then I'm going to spritz with my mini mister and just add that ink because we don't want to waste it in a couple of different places, and then I'll dry that off. And then we're going to go in and add some mustard seed. But with my mustard seed, I think I'm going to go in with some of my texture discs. Just add in. Obviously, if you are just more, if you have got more paint-based things, you could blend through your inkables with your paints as well. It really is sort of like a personal choice. FYI, we were talking about plans earlier. There was planned to be a lot more white space left. But I think we all know, when it comes to me, that I do always find that a little bit of a struggle. Like, this is a lot. But we're going to do the same, okay? We're going to mist that. And add that in some different areas. Let's like ease that ink up. And then we're going to get our heat tool and just heat that up. Here. Texture discs for Mother's Day. Sorry, just had a chance to look at the comments. I think that would be a rather fantabulous present for Mother's Day, actually. Some texture discs. Blooming lovely. I'll have a waft on the other bits while we're here. You can also, something I didn't say, like I say with the scribble sticks, it'll all come back to me. You can use them on your stamps as well, which is really, really cool. Give you a real sort of watercolour effect. So I'm really happy with that as a background. What I'm going to do now is I'm sort of going to be working from the Dream set of faces tonight. So I'm going to use Journal Art Elements 2. Again, this is a really sort of hand-drawn one for people that don't like to draw, you know, they don't have the confidence to draw their own. Or even if, like me, you do like to, it's just, you want to be able to repeat the pattern easily. Which is where these sort of, you know, this is why these work for me, because I can repeat the pattern if I want to. So, for example, I think I'm actually just going to go with that circle. The one with the little V's on it, there. But I'm going to turn them up the other way. But I'm actually also going to stamp this, I think, in the Wilted Violet, I think. Because we have got that bubblegum pink mixing with the Blue Lagoon has given us some quite intense colours. Equal lines on your stamps, absolutely. But again, that's a different effect. Your scribble sticks, it gives a sort of, it looks like you've drawn it with a pastel, for want of a better description. Looks like you've drawn the stamp yourself, but with a pastel. See what I mean? Okay. I'm going to leave that for a sentiment. Now, this is where, what I want to use is I want to use the Dream stamp. And I want to put her here. on this side of this double layout. But the texture on the Dina Wakley cardstock is very intense. It's really a wonderful texture to play with. It does a lot of the work for you in terms of creating a good background. But obviously that does mean it's not particularly easy to stamp on. You can get some good stamping on it, absolutely. But when I'm going for the feature stamp, no. I need to know it's going to stamp absolutely perfectly. Okay, so there's only one thing to do in that situation. Oh, I might have a bit the perfect size. And that is Bee Crafty stamping tissue. And I do have a bit the perfect size. That nearly never happens. How awesome. Right. So, I'm going to need a bigger block than that. So I'm going to use my Super Skinny Slim. And we're going to stamp onto the stamping tissue. Oh, I didn't mean to use that. We'll circle back. Okay. I'm going to straighten this out as much as I can without getting too pernickety about it. Just got here, and both sets of stamp you've just used, I have a result. That's absolutely brilliant. Try it out Tuesday isn't just here for new things. We tell you that. If there's anything you want to see used, say you've had it or whatever, as long as it's a current thing, because if it's discontinued, there's a chance I don't have it anymore. But it doesn't have to be a new thing, it's just a current thing, really. So that's going to fit on there lovely. What I'm debating now is what colour to do it in. Do I steer away from black completely? I think that would be a really nice twist for me. So do you know what? I'm going to stamp in the wilted violet that we just used. I think this is going to be a very interesting thing for me. And we're going to stamp right onto this bit of stamping tissue. Can't lie, I'm not sure I've stamped a feature stamp on the Bee Crafty stamping tissue with oxide before. If I've done it on camera, you guys are liable to remember better than me. Okay. And there will be a reason for that. And the reason is, when you're sticking this down, you're getting it wet, which means you're then at risk of moving the ink. Okay, but we're going to take that risk and meet it head on, because I might be recolouring or adding in a bit of colour over the top anyway, using my scribble sticks. Okay, what I'm trying to do here is get myself a good outline to work with. Alright. We're going to put it just there, so I'm just going to trim. That down. You can cut this with a paintbrush, a wet one, before anyone says out. You will obviously get a much softer line. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, I'm running out of clean water, so I'm now taking a risk. It's alright, I'm going to take my brand new tub of Collage Medium, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply quite a bit, so I'll take a little bit of water to water it down a bit, to where I'm going. Okay, because I want to minimise it's going to bleed a little bit, that's okay. Oh, I'm loving it, it's giving us sort of like a watercolour look. Okay, and we're still getting the beautiful background come through. You know, you can still see the Metalwork Alpha. Okay, so I'll tell you what, now we're just going to work that edge slightly. I'm just going to get my finger in there and just work that down. I'm going to leave that to dry and come back to it in just a minute. Okay. Lovely. Okay. Oh yes, I said we were going to add in some of the Harlequin, didn't we? I am just going to start that drying off just a little. Just say, if you are new to collage medium, matte medium, things like that, and you don't really know, you're not feeling you're confident what you're going to use it for yet, or anything like that, Distress do actually do sort of like a mini set, which has got 3 little pots in. I can't remember the 3 pots it's got in it, I won't lie to you, but it's definitely got a matte medium in it, and a couple of others for you to play with before before you decide or commit to anything bigger. Or to be honest, if you just have a small lot and you don't have a massive amount of space to craft in. I don't, hence the frequent crafter lanching that occurs. Right, I'm going to move my scribble sticks out the way because that seems wise right now. And I'll tell you what, I think we need to add in another colour. And I'm thinking maybe Evergreen Bough. Evergreen Bough, which is always one of those, I don't know which brush to use. Do I use a bluey or a greeny? Or I'm going to go with green. Oh, beautiful. Good choice. Now, the lovely thing about this Harlequin template, this is one of our original ones, and we still have it because you do have a border. So if you wanted to go round, for example, the corner of a page, you haven't got to worry about trying to join up at a corner. It sort of does that for you, and then you can find a different place to go. Okay. So, oh, sorry, I've just taken a second to do a little scroll. So the Distress crayons and the scribble sticks, completely different. Like, as in a completely different thing. A Distress crayon is, in fairness, Tim Holtz didn't want them to be called crayons because he thought people would think they're wax crayons. And in fairness, neither a scribble stick or a Distress crayon is like a wax crayon. Okay, so a Distress crayon is more like a pastel in that you can, the best blending tool you can use with a Distress crayon is your fingertips. You can really get it to move, and whatever is brilliant. You cannot move a scribble stick with your fingers. Think of it as a solid stick of colour that will only activate when you add water to it. Okay, so you can draw with it and your colour will transfer to your card, but if you want it to become paint-like, you need to mix it with water. Now, you can do that, as you saw me do earlier, really scribble some colour on and do that. Or, for example, another way to do it, I'll show you this way. So I'm going to grab my white one here, so let's do something I like to do. And we're going to get some water. We're just going to Okay, so we're going to activate the scribble stick, effectively get some white paint, some white water-based paint on the go here, which we can then flick on, or for example, so I'm just going to do the rest of that now. Okay, or if you wanted to go into these circles, in fact, no, we could use the white for that actually. So I'm going to get a bit more water on. I'm thinking, do you know what? I want to lift them. I change the colour. Well, what you can do is you can activate your scribble stick and go in and lift them so they're. And you can almost decide the opacity yourself by how thick it goes. Okay, so I'm not going to add any more water to that. I'm just going to keep doing it now. Okay, so you can see it's getting much more opaque with the less water added. So it's a different thing. I hope that helps a little bit. This is taking a while to dry, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Okay. So yeah, the Harlequin. It's one of the original ones, like the dots, that's got that corner on it. So that's not something you have to piece together. It's already there. You don't have to worry about it. It's one where we've sort of taken the work out of it for you, which we were really trying to do when we first started out with the Inkables. And that's why this one's still here, because it still does that and works for us in that way. Okay, this is also another really good one. I might have to go to another page to show you this. For you to, for example, to add a lot of ink to. I can get a tag actually. Lots of half done tags over here so I can show you. So add a lot of ink to it like that. Grab a mini mister or a sprayer or anything like that. Activate the ink. And then add it to your project that way. So you're leaving a more open space. Okay? You could literally paint through a stencil doing that with the brush on the... Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, the playback is a little bit behind me. So I'm a little bit further ahead, sorry. So I'm not always getting your comments straight away. So you can see it's a different way of using your Inkables to give a really cool sort of effect. And I think the Harlequin one is a really good one for that. But if you did just want the diamond pattern in lots of ways, there is in a full 6x6 that would it would be the distressed diamonds. Okay. That is a very cool tag, which I will have to finish very soon. I have a stack. This is a stack of unfinished tags. That's a challenge that I have to face soon. Alright. So I'm sorry, Dream, my darling, you have had enough time. I'm going to have to start forcing you dry. Okay. Now, because this has been done with the matte medium, okay, you can, of course, now paint over this. The image won't move anymore. And once it's dry, it won't move anymore. In fact, it's probably what I should have done was find out one of my coordinating archival links. But, you know, sometimes it's nice just to see what happens, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to take my Posca pen. And I'm going to add in the whites of her eyes, because to be honest, I just think it makes it pop. Okay, and then if you want to add in more, you can. You know, that's totally doable. And then Sam is now laughing because my eldest and her Uncle Mark were going and then at each other about 34 times tonight. So Sam and I just walked away. I honestly feel like all of my pigment microns are coming to the end of their life at the same time. Why does that happen? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some of Sammy's Semic writing going across the top and across the bottom. Okay. Ooh, or should I use a colour? No. I'll go with the black. No, that's not wet, dry enough. It's not dry enough for me to do. I think I do have. It's probably doing things like that that's killed them, to be honest. What do I have? No, it is just too wet. Nothing is going to go on there right now. Okay, so that might have to come later, or I'll have to think of another plan. Alright, so in there then, I think we're going to go with Sam's handwriting words 1. So this is Sam's handwritten words once, and it's a really, really good set. So you can buy it with the Dream and whatever is a bundle. Or, you know, you can also get it separately. That's one heck of a background. I was actually just thinking how plain it is. I won't lie to you. I think for me it's quite reserved. More words in there. I'm loving how the Metalwork Alpha's coming through there. Tell you what I need. I need a black Posca pen. That's what I need. That would work even when it's not dry. Anyway, I digress. Sammy's handwritten words. And the thing I'm going to go for, you only live once. If you get it right, that's all you'll need. Now this I am going to stamp in black, and I am going to try and stamp it directly on the thing. And I'll tell you for why. It's quite a fine line. And if you're using a nice wet black ink pad, and I'm going to take that off so I can get a good purchase on it. And I'm going to go rub it in. And that's not bad. Okay. So I can fill in. This bit's dry, so I should be able to fill this bit in. I'll never be able to write like Sammy. Honestly, Like I say, if you ever get a handwritten note from us, I have not written it. She doesn't let me. I'd like to point out my writing isn't atrocious. It's just nowhere near as good as hers. So. Get it right, and that's all you'll need. Now, what I am going to do is to finish off this page, I am going to do Sam's Asemic writing across here. She did do a Freehand Friday on that a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to do that across the top here and across the bottom. But I am going to really need all of it to be dry before I do that, because the pens just aren't going to work on it while it's still wet. And you see how this is sort of just blended in to the background. Sort of really works. And I honestly don't think it's coming up as bright on screen as it is here. So hopefully when I do some pictures, you will be able to see the brightness. You will be able to see the brightness. Alright then guys, thank you so much for joining me. Sam is live in Crafting Together with All Brands tomorrow. Please make sure you're following us on Instagram and the YouTube channel. And like I say, I will put a picture on when this is complete. Oh, pen licence. My youngest got a pen licence at school. She's allowed to write in pen now, not just pencil. That's quite exciting, isn't it? So, anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Lots of new stuff coming up soon. We're really excited about it. And as soon as we can give you more details, we shall. And of course we will have a new Freehand Friday with, and oh, it's me this week, isn't it? I wonder what it'll be. Alright then, my lovelies, thank you so much, and have a fantastic rest of your Valentine's Day and a lovely rest of your week. Bye.